Next, we'll hear from two talented students who were nominated for the honor of speaking at commencement by their peers. First, I'd like to ask Paulina Castillon Gomez, candidate for Bachelor of Fine Arts, to join me at the podium.
Wow, it's getting emotional. What an honor is to stand before you today, representing the New York School of Interior Design, class of 2023. We have spent countless hours in the studios, pouring over sketches and blueprints, experimenting with color palettes and textures, and pushing the boundaries of our creativity. But today, we can look back at all those efforts with pride and satisfaction, knowing that we're emerging as skilled designers, ready to make our mark in the world. As we celebrate the accomplishments, I wanted to recognize the dynamic role that each individual within our institution has held in making this day possible. I wanted to give a special thanks to our remarkable faculty for their unconditional support and effort and leadership. You have not only imparted academic knowledge, but have also served as mentors and role models. You have patiently answered our questions, encouraged our curiosity, and inspired us to think critically and independently. Thank you to our exceptional staff. Your work and effort have not gone unnoticed. From the friendly smile that greets us every morning at the 17th Street campus, to the countless logistic details you handle seamlessly. Thank you to all the family and friends accompanying our graduates today. Your presence is an uplifting message that recognizes our efforts in our profession. I cannot help but feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the people who have been there since the very beginning, shaping our journeys and nurturing us into the individuals we have become. Moms and dads, this moment is as much of a celebration of your love, support, and guidance as it is of our accomplishments. From the moment we took our first steps, stumbling and falling, you were there to pick us up, dust us off, and encourage us to try again. Your trusted presence filled our lives with warmth, security, and believed in our potential. You believed in us even when we doubted ourselves, reminding us that failure was just a stepping stone on the path to success. When I look at our graduation class of 2023, I see passionate designers with a fire in their souls to go out and change the world. In our 4 years together, I have seen us push ourselves out of our comfort zones, and I have seen you dedicate countless hours in perfecting designs. From our beginnings in studio classes to the astonishing projects in the thesis exhibition, it is clear how much we have learned and grown as designers and individuals. Coming from a different country, I embarked on this educational adventure with a sense of both excitement and trepidation. The path of an international student is filled with unique challenges, including adapting to a new culture, a new language, and a new educational system. I can still remember the day that I innocently referred to a beautiful and comfy piece of furniture as a couch. The gasp of horror and the glare from my professor still haunts me to this day. Ever since then, I have learned my lesson and only called it a sofa. However, from the very moment I stepped foot on this campus, I was embraced with open arms and made to feel like a part of a warm and inclusive family. Interior design is a field that goes beyond just decorating spaces. It's about creating environments that are not only aesthetically pleasing, but also functional and sustainable. As interior designers, we have the power to transform people's lives by shaping the spaces they inhabit. The world needs our skill more than ever. As we engage in challenges like climate change, social inequality, and a pandemic that has forced us to rethink how we live and work, interior design has a crucial role to play. We must strive to design spaces that are not just beautiful, but also equitable, inclusive, and environmental conscious. We must use our creativity to find solutions to these complex problems and create spaces that truly serve the needs of the people who use them. But as we embark on our professional journeys, we must also remember the lessons we learn as students. We have learned the importance of collaboration, seeking feedback and constructive criticism, and never giving up on a design challenge. We have learned to embrace failure as an opportunity to learn and grow. These are all valuable skills that will serve us well as we navigate the ups and downs of the design world. As we leave this institution and enter the professional world, we must remember that our education is just the beginning. We will face challenges and setbacks, but must always maintain our passion and purpose. Tomorrow, each one of you will go on your own path, and in your work, strive to show up as your authentic selves every single day. Because your work as an interior designer is not only about acquired knowledge, but about how you connect and create for the people around you. As Albert Hadley once said, the essence of interior design will always be about the people and how they live. It is about the realities of what makes for an attractive, civilized, meaningful environment, not about what fashion or what's in or what's out. This is not an easy job. Today is a celebration for each one of us through both our individual and collective accomplishment. We have been through vulnerable and joyful moments together. And as we move on to the next chapter of our lives, let us stick with the passion, the creativity, and the dedication that brought us here today. Let us continue to push ourselves to learn and grow as designers, and to use our skills to make a positive impact on the world. And most of all, let us never forget the friendship and memories we have made along the way. Congratulations to each one of you for your work. Make sure to celebrate tonight and every single day. I'm proud of all the lessons learned in the last years and applaud future you for what it is to come. Congratulations, class of 2023. Can't wait to see how our stories unfold.
Thank you, Paulina, for truly inspirational words. Now, if I may ask Antonio Harris, candidate of Master of Fine Arts, to join me at the podium.
A special thanks to the NYSID community for giving me this opportunity. What an honor to be here today on such a momentous occasion, and what a rewarding privilege to have been given such distinction by my professional peers and NYSID faculty to deliver a few words of inspiration in this moment of significance. Thank you. President Sproles, members of the faculty, parents, guests, fellow graduates, don't be apprehensive. I am fully aware that on a day of such high exhilaration, what is most desired above all else from any speaker is brevity. Trust me, I will not fail you. There are exactly 89 sentences in my speech, 6 of which I've just mentioned. It will only take me a brief moment to speak all of them. And I should mention that such prudence was not easy for me to devise, because I have chosen to speak to you today on the topic of ideas that matter. I'd like to do something, if you allow me to engage your cerebral senses for a moment. If everyone could close their eyes for 20 seconds. Take a deep breath. And now I want you to imagine yourself waking up in the morning. I want you to try to form the clearest picture in your mind, or at least be as specific in describing it to yourself as possible. And while you keep your eyes closed, it's asking the right questions that can help you visualize your scenario much better. So you might ask, where am I? What's the setting? What room or space are you in? What is it that wakes you up? Is it the sunlight hitting your face as it peers through the bedroom window? Is it your blaring alarm from your iPhone? A nudge or call from your partner? Has the sun even come up yet? Or is it still dark out? Are you alone in solitude, or is anyone with you? What are you wearing? Do you reach for your slippers or your robe? Do you pull off your nightcap? What mood are you in? And finally, what's the very first thing you do now that you're awake? With your eyes still closed for about 5 more seconds, I want you to keep imagining this morning. Imagine it in detail, and don't stop imagining until you have all the clear answers to all of these questions. You may open your eyes now. This quick psychogenic trip you just took is a precise example of a highly imaginable future. And this, I'm sure, was quite easy for you to envision, vivid details and all. Thinking back to our MFA introduction to NYSID, I bet you remember our first sketchbook. We were tasked to develop what would become our first important resource for exploring, understanding, recording, and most importantly, questioning what you see, hear, and experience about design and the world around us. The process was so palpable. It required us to be spontaneous and experimental. For those of us crossing over into this new industry, we were implored to use unfamiliar tools, techniques, and even unfamiliar ways of working. We had to use our imagination in a whole new way, and that made us fervently feel as if every idea that landed in that sketchbook mattered. It was at least my first real awakening to the symbolic function of our roles as designers, that my decisions must count for something. I'd like to do another quick visualization. Just to follow my lead, please. Let's close our eyes one more time for about 20 seconds. And this time, let's make it just slightly more challenging. I'll ask you to take a deep breath and imagine yourself waking up 1 year from now. Try again to envision this as clearly as possible. This time, I want you to take the liberty to change as many or as few details from the first picture imagined. Where are you? Are you somewhere different? Have you changed physically? Is your morning habit different? What might it be? Do you start with a brief meditation? Do you pick up an inspiring read for a few minutes? Do you wake up to the smell of bacon or a fragrant brunch being prepared for you? Are you alone? Is anyone with you? What is your mood and how do you feel? Now, with your eyes closed, keep your imagination running on this morning 1 year from now. Until you arrive at the answers to all of these questions, even the harder ones. You may open your eyes again. Did you notice how easily and unpreparedly these ideas came to you? Or maybe you had to work harder to come up with the details. Our recent stories are probably most similar in attaining a newfound knowledge of how to integrate ideas that matter into our design narratives, perhaps even our personal narratives as tastemakers and thought leaders. Projects like the traditional living room interior, the Soho retail store, a co-living space for an aging demographic, and a reimagined exploratory children's library. And remember that dreaded half-term healthcare project. I personally want to express great appreciation for the journey NYSID guided us on, to arriving in every course with every instructor at the refinement of these ideas that matter. To the family and friends who supported us when we reluctantly questioned these ideas. When we found ourselves struggling to even think from just creative burnout or getting stuck on the most effective way to convey the vision as best as possible, or even meet the program needs. And talk about getting stuck, I have just one word for you: Revit. I'm sure some of your family members have regrettably been introduced to this software since our inception. But despite the challenge, and nevertheless, we prevailed. This time, I would like you to close your eyes one more time for a last exercise. And let's take 10 extra seconds. Graduates, I know we're all recouping from rest, so try not to fall asleep. And here we go, one last time. I'd like for you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and imagine you waking up 10 years from now. This time, I want you to try to truly come up with a plausible image. So take your time. A plausible image of you, yourself. Where are you? What space are you in? What's the aroma? What's the energy in the room? What's around you? What do you see? What do you hear? What's the feeling in that moment? What's the plan for your day? Do you have one? What about physically? Are you different? How? Can you envision your mood? Try your best not to make this future scene a complete fantasy. Just try and stay grounded and what feels most genuinely true to life. What's the most realizable, the most possible for you? If you're finding this difficult, try to use words rather than images. Keep imagining just a few more seconds. Now you can open your eyes, and I promise that's the last one. You more than likely found that 10 years is particularly challenging in comparison to other scenarios. There's an obvious reason you've never been 10 years older before. And if you think about it, there is so much, as we have experienced, that can happen in a decade. The last 3 years alone have shown us that. Life circumstances, economy, relationships, career, finances, COVID, health, physical environment. But think about, regardless of any of that, the brilliant unknowability that our brain intuitively clutches. You may have noticed in the exercises, our brain actually prevents us from confidently projecting only one possibility. In fact, there is blank space. A blank space to consider numerous possibilities. And coupled together, both imagination and intentionality can make what seemed previously unimaginable imaginable. As we know, this takes a considerable amount of effort, but that is precisely why our imagination is so powerful. Our imaginations are our ideas that matter. Rather than simply remembering what it knows, our brains must invent a new possibility, drawing on all possible contexts, past experiences, our hopes, our fears, even our intuition about what could change in 10 years and beyond. So, my fellow graduates, as we begin a new journey forward into the unknown, I encourage you to implement these valuable exercises as you approach new clients and new challenges, and even as you create your own personal reality. And now more than ever, with the newfound knowledge, we must remain committed to making intentional choices about what we want to imagine in our future. That we continue to imagine the unimaginable. That our ideas provide solutions and solve important problems. That our ideas uplift and thoroughly inspire. That our ideas represent and reflect who we are and consider everyone around us. That our ideas are urgent with promise. That we continue to fill in the blanks. They are your ideas that matter. Congratulations, NYSID class of 2023. We did it. So much love.